We know what you've come for, and now we're going to give it to you. You're listening to the No Such Thing podcast.
And we're rolling. So, anyway, folks, what you just heard was... Let me just have a look at it. My notes. My notes is on a little bit of paper the size of your big toe. And so, what you just heard was a Sonic Destruction by Jacob Lizzotti. Now, let me just pronounce it, or spell that. Lizotte. Now, he has a royalty-free music channel on YouTube, and basically that's what I'm going to be using for my podcast from now on, because it's basically really cool metal tracks, like instrumental tracks that you can just use. Excuse me. At your leisure, as they say in America. So anyway, tonight I have another Bigfoot guest. Now, this guy's called Jordan, and I think he's actually my youngest guest ever. You know, usually these Bigfoot people are middle-aged white people like myself, and but this guy's different. He's 26 years old, so he might hold the record of being the youngest Bigfoot encounteree that I've interviewed. But he has a really good story. This happened in, oh Christ, now I've just thrown the notes down on the floor and I can't see them because I lost my glasses. I'm going to Oklahoma in 2 weeks to look for Bigfoot, or at least have a sighting, and I don't have any glasses. So I said to Dave Wilbanks from the Dave Wilbanks Bigfoot and More channel, I'm like, what am I going to do? Because I know Dave wears glasses, so he obviously needs them too. And he's like, go to one of those 24-hour places, or like same-day glass places. So I looked them up, and I guess they do exist, so I'm going to have to do that, because I cannot go Bigfoot hunting if I can't see anything. I mean, I do have cameras and binoculars and all the rest of it, but anyway, so this kid's name is Jordan. He's from Mason County, Washington. Hold on 1 second. I just got a low power mode notification. So I got to make this quick. So his encounters happened in Mason County, Washington State, for all you non-American freaks. And it should be a good show. He seems to know his stuff, and he seems very articulate and dynamic. So it's going to be a good interview, and I'm really looking forward. I'm going to welcome Jordan to the show, and he'll be coming right up next. Talk to you guys all soon.
I'll start from the top, man. My name is, and so it was probably, I was born in 1994, and my parents actually were divorced before I have any type of remembering anything. You know, I was really young. I wasn't even a year old yet. And we lived in Olympia, Washington. That's where I was born.
I heard it's beautiful.
Olympia is really nice. Unfortunately, the homeless problem is becoming pretty bad down there.
Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah, I've heard some stories.
Yeah, it's a beautiful town. Otherwise than that, the capital is gorgeous. Olympia, Olympia, a lot of people, they think of capital, especially in Washington. A lot of people think of Seattle. It's Olympia is the capital.
Oh, really?
Really?
I thought Seattle was the capital.
Nope, Olympia is. It's it's not a small town by any means. It's a big area, but it's nothing like Seattle. Not even close. And so, yeah, I was born there. And then I think it must have been in 1999, when I really first remember meeting my stepdad. And my stepdad, him and my mom got married, and we moved out to Shelton, Washington, which is, it's an old logging town is the best way to describe it, or as they like to describe it now, a lot of junkies, a lot of tweakers.
Yeah. Same in Oklahoma where I'm going to. Where the guys that I'm going out with don't carry a gun because of Bigfoot. They carry a gun because of tweakers.
Yeah, the tweakers are the ones that'll get you out in Shelton, not Bigfoot. I grew up, and so we have two. There's two parts of the land down there. There is the 40 acres we live on, and then there's that's what we call Glenwood Farms. This is a lot. It's not wetlands by all means, but it's our big haying fields. We also, that's, during the, after we get out of winter and in the springtime, that's where we herd all the cattle and stuff. That's where they go. They get fenced in and into sections so they don't eat too much grass, and, they help fertilize the grass with all their crap and whatnot. So, the farm is awesome, man. It's absolutely gorgeous. I did send you a picture. That's an early morning picture.
Right.
And so it would have, my first thing of hearing Bigfoot, I was actually probably in first grade, and, I didn't even know what Bigfoot looked like. I just, and my brother's friend who actually lived with us, his name was Wes. And Wes lived downstairs in a section where my stepdad was going to build my mom's mega bathroom with like a jacuzzi tub and everything. And Wes had his computer up. This is way before Wi-Fi or anything. Okay, like no high-speed internet. This is all dial-up. People used to call in to our phone line and it'd kick him off the internet.
Yeah, I remember those days.
It's funny, you still can't get internet out there, like high-speed internet. It's still either like satellite or anything, And so we lived in the valley, Glenwood Farm, which is the 40 acres where the house is and the barns. And Wes was on some type of website where you could like play audio or something of Bigfoot, and I heard the audio. And I remember the audio just scaring me to shit as a little kid, to the point where like I wouldn't even go outside. Like, I don't know what it was, but like I can't really tell you like what the audio sounded like. It just scared the shit out of me. It didn't sound right.
Was it the Ohio Howl or something like that?
I couldn't tell you, man. I can't remember it. I just remember that my stepdad was really, really pissed off that Wes did that. And I remember my stepdad came in and like grabbed Wes by like the shirt, like, kind of like, hey, you don't show him this kind of stuff to him.
Shit.
And so if, now that I'm kind of like putting, I guess, two and two together, maybe my stepdad has seen something out there, I don't know. This is a guy who literally built the farm from the ground up by himself. He bought the land. There's a bunch of trees on it. He used to sleep out there in a tent. And he would buy some animals and then he'd do some logging. This guy literally built an entire farm by himself. The guy can build anything with his eyes closed, dude. This guy is absolutely insane. He's taught me a lot, when it comes to, just how to build stuff around the houses and stuff like that. Not paying up people to do work you can do,
Yeah. Pretty tough bastard by the sounds of it.
Yeah. So I guess we can kind of jump into the first encounter. This had to be about 2001. And I actually talked to my brother about this because he was the one who actually, I had grown up. I had moved away from Shelton. I'm about an hour and a half away from Shelton. I live in a town past Bonnie Lake. It's called Buckley. It's a small town, real redneckish. But the first instance, I talked to my brother and we kind of just went over it, and he kind of filled me in on some stuff. Because recently, me and him, we've been listening. We've always listened to Sasquatch Chronicles. I'm a brand new full-time subscriber, to him, but I've been listening to him for about 2 years.
It's really good show. It's a good
it
show.
It is. They're the people on there. It helps a lot of people out. There's closure to a lot of stuff. I really, really enjoy the show. And you can tell those people on that show they're not bullshitting you, dude.
Did you hear the Mike Woolley encounter where he was a hunter and he was in Louisiana and he was in the trees and this thing jumped like 20 feet.
Oh yeah, knocked
you heard that one?
Him and his cousin, right?
No, he was by himself, and he had
himself.
Yes, and the thing looked like a Cherokee. He said, and it was like I'll send you a photograph later. But Mike Woolley, he actually has since died, but he was in the Skookum movie or something. I can't remember, but he was one of my favorite interviews, and he was so credible. I mean, this guy was a redneck, worked in a factory, hunter guy, and he went out there and this thing like jumped from one tree to another. He said it was like 20 feet, and and he put the sights up on it, and he said he could see its eyebrows and he could see the breath coming from its mouth, and there's no way this guy was lying. And they chased him out of there, and by God's grace, he had pointed, which he always did. He always had reversed his truck to point out of the woods, and he had to run like half a mile to get out of the woods, and he made it out of there, but he was never the same. And that was one of my favorite ever stories on Bigfoot Chronicles. But
I like the Terror in the Woods one, or Terror at the Job Site.
That was recent, right?
That one's a trip, and it's funny because I didn't know about it. I listened to that one probably about a year and a half ago, and sometimes I just go back and listen to it. But I work for a company that works in the RV manufacturing world, and I'm one of the sales representatives for them. I cover the whole West Coast for them, and I travel a lot, and I up and down the West Coast. And I actually I drove through that area, not even knowing it.
Wow.
the hills of California, man.
So do you want to go into your first encounter then? What happened that night? I've heard the story, but do you want to go over it?
So I had to be, I was in first grade, so I must have been 5 or 6 years old. And my parents, or my stepdad and my mom, had went out to the casino for a night out, a break from the kids, go have adult fun, whatever. And so they had my brother watch me and my 13-year-old cousin. Her name is Tana Lee. And, I had always, since my brother dropped out of high school, to watch me when my parents got divorced. And I've always hung out with older people, man, my whole life. I still get along better with older people, people that are 12, 13 years older than me. And so, it was my brother, his friend, I consider him another brother, his friend, another brother, his name's Derek. And then, it actually wasn't who I told you was, I was confused. It wasn't, who did I tell you it was? I can't remember. The other guy's name was Rick. Rick was a big dude. And they came over, we were playing Monopoly, listening to music, just hanging out. And, I'm a little kid at that point. So I think it must have been like 10 o'clock. This is, November, December time, probably early November, if I remember it correctly. And, I went to bed. I was tired. And I remember, going to my room and laying in bed, and I'm about to pass out. And then something small hits the window. Something small. We're on a farm, man. This could be a bat. This could be a bird. It was a real light tap, like nothing to cause any type of damage. And my door is open and there is light going out my window. And I hear, it was like every 2 to 3, maybe 5 minutes, and another rock or something would hit the window. And you just hear ding, nothing to cause any type of damage. And we're like, what the hell? And at that point, I'm a little kid. I don't really know what's going on. It happened probably like 5 or 6 times. And I was like, what's going on? I look out the window, it's pitch black outside on the farm. Can't see anything. And basically I went and grabbed my brother. And the way I described it to like my cousin and my brother is it sounded like a bead was hitting the window. Like, like a friendship bracelet, you have beads on them.
Yeah.
That's how I described it. I didn't know how to put it into words. It sounded like something very light was tapping the window. And there's no trees by my window. There's nothing. It's literally where we park cars at. And it just kept happening. And I went and grabbed Tannerly and my brother, and they came and listened, and it kept happening. And it was like, what the hell? My brother was like, my brother's a big dude. If we're descendants of Bigfoot, he's pretty close to him. He's not very tall, but man, this guy is wide. Like, he's a big dude. Not a lot of people messed with me in high school because they knew that my brother would be down in a second. Me and my brother are very, very close. And he tells me and my cousin, go get in the bathroom. And the bathroom's upstairs, and it's in the middle. There's no windows to the bathroom. It's literally in the middle of the house on the left-hand side if you're coming in from the front porch. And we go in the bathroom, and they kept hearing it, I guess. And my brother went out on the porch, and he said he did do some yelling, like, "Hey, whoever the fuck's out here, get the fuck out of here." And he had like a CO2 like pellet gun, and it was like, what's that gonna do?
Like an airsoft gun or a...
Not an airsoft gun. I don't know if they sell them anymore, but back
I have a ton of those right over here, like airsoft guns. I play that on Sundays with my son.
This was like a fake little revolver, as you will, that you'd load 6 pellets into, and it would shoot off the CO2 power. Yeah. I mean, this thing wouldn't it's going to kill a squirrel at most. It's not going to do anything else.
If even.
And it was weird. And so I remember leaving the bathroom because I was like, "Whoa, what the hell? I want to be by my brother. My brother is the safest place to be right now. I don't want to be locked in the bathroom with my cousin." And at that point, I went out I wasn't outside on the front porch. I was kind of in the kitchen and by the table, and Joel just came back inside, and it was weird, man. I'd never seen my brother with that look before. And I asked him about it. I didn't know this part of the story, okay? I guess he had heard something big brush up against the side of the house on the back, on the opposite side, like out the window, out where my room was. Now he's on the opposite side on the deck, and he felt something brush up against the house, which I had no clue about until I started talking to him about it. And at that point, I think we went downstairs and we tried to put my mom's dog, Hunter. He's a black lab. He was a beefy dude. He's a farm dog. This dog would chase cows. He would run with the bull, horses, you name it. This dog wasn't scared of anything, man. My stepdad actually said that he's seen him running with coyotes one time.
Wow.
Real weird stuff, dude. And my brother tried to put him outside, and I remember my brother, once again, strong dude, was trying to pick Hunter up by the back of his neck, and was trying to put him outside, and Hunter was yelping, and like a big like, the dog like arr, arr, like, and then ended up pissing all over the floor and onto my brother. And at that point, my brother said, "It's time to go. We need to get the hell out of here." And 2000s era, there's not. My brother did try calling my stepmom or my mom and my stepdad a couple times, and they weren't answering the phone. And my brother, I think my brother still had a pager at that point. And we literally, I wasn't allowed to run. I literally was being carried by my brother to the car, and we jumped in this car, and it was the Eclipse. And so, like I said, we live in a valley. It's down off a cliff into a big open patch of kind of land. There's trees there, and we all jam packed into the car. And as we were pulling out of the driveway, turning around, you have to circle our little pond. We'd have ducks there and stuff. And I saw the cows, and the cows were in a big circle, bunched together in the middle of the field. This is a real faint image because it's really dark out there. But the bull was out there, and this was a clear night. There was a little bit of moonlight and stuff like that, and you could just see the cows there, and the bull was circling the cows.
Wow!
And because you could just see him walking, because that's what a bull does when there's something dangerous by it. The herd gets in a circle, and the bull is the only one up. All the cows were laying down. The bull was walking around him. Nothing was going to get by him, or he was going to die trying. And we went to my grandma's house, which she lived in Olympia. And my mom came home, eventually with my stepdad. And we weren't there. And she called my grandma. We told my grandma the story. My grandma's actually passed away by now, passed away now. But my grandma told her the story, and that's when my mom had it's either my mom or my stepdad. They called either Fish and Wildlife or a warden of some kind to come out and take a look. And that was it. That was the first encounter. Never saw it. Or anything like that, but I know that it shook me up.
well, those guys know. Those Fish and Game Wildlife guys know. They've got to around those areas. What do you think?
Oh yeah, definitely. I'll talk a little bit about it later.
Right.
What I think that the game warden did, because they did find a track. Like I said, we live off a cliff basically. We have a good sturdy road to go down to that my stepdad puts up. It's about 60 yards up all the way from top to bottom. But I always used to go up because I was a terror. I'm not a morning person, and I'd always be late for the bus.
Yeah. And
I'd shoot up the side of the cliff, and it was real loose dirt. And he said he did find a track. He says it looks like a bear. It's a big bear, type of thing. Be careful, be on the lookout, type of thing, but I don't know. My mom never saw the track. My stepdad was never taken to the track or anything like that, which you'd think you'd show him if you're with the warden or the guys looking around, you'd be with them. But that was the first one.
Okay. So
fast forward a couple of years. This was when I was about 14 or 15. I had to be 14. Turning 15, I was in the 8th grade, and my mom wasn't working at this time, but I remember I would always walk up the hill, and for the bus, and she would stand on the front porch, and she'd talk with me, and she'd smoke her cigarette, and I'm standing up there, and I'd get up there 15, 20 minutes before the bus came. This is again in November.
Always November or October.
November, December time. It had to be the winter years because there's no leaves on the trees. Everything was dead, for the winter season. And that's the only reason I saw it. If it would have been during the summertime, there's no chance I would have seen it. There's no chance. But
okay.
Because the trees would have blocked it. The only reason I saw it is because the trees were all dead and they're skinny at the tops and stuff like that until they start blooming with leaves and all that, which you can see in the photos I sent you. That's obviously during like summertime or something when it's a lot of trees. If you ever saw the pictures,
I'll post them.
Yeah, and so I'm up on top of the hill and I just heard a big commotion, and there was actually I think it was one of our horses out in the field at that point, had to have been, and there's a big commotion down there, and I turned and looked, and there was a horse running, and there was something in our electrical fence. Very big, very large. If I can think of it, this thing was, I think, down on fours at one point at the very beginning when I first saw it. Okay.
How far away are you here?
It's an awkward angle. You know how you like I have to be, maybe 200, 250 yards away, but I'm looking down at it. When you're like, maybe you're hunting and you're at a clear, like maybe like a log clearing, when you're at the top, you can see everything below you pretty well. This thing was big and black, and when it got up, right, on its tubes, okay, the elbows were bending and grabbing at its shoulders as if it was trying to get the electrical fence off of it. This is it's grabbing. And then you've seen people do resistance running when they're training, okay?
I'm not sure, but
so there's a thing in the athletic world, football players, basketball players, they do it for explosiveness to help, improve. It's basically you put a big belt around you. And, And then someone on the other end holds it and you run. And this thing was running with its arms bent, kind of still tearing, but it was caught in the electric fence.
It was running in place.
In a sense, it was running very slowly. Okay, like because the electrical cords were probably, or the metal wire was all around it.
Oh Jesus!
There's 3 lines on our fence. It's always been that way, and it was going, and it was tugging at it, and it never came off of 2 feet when it disappeared into the woods. It was 6 or 8 steps, and it was gone. It covered 30 yards like it was nothing. Like it was there. It got shocked, scared, whatever, and it was gone. And it's a good zap. I couldn't tell you the amps or the voltage on it.
But did it break through the wires?
It ripped out 300 yards of fence.
Jeez.
and actually broke a couple post holes, or a couple posts that were dug in the ground about 4 or 5 feet. These are 10-foot post holes about 4 inches across, that were broken, and the fence was destroyed, dude. It was absolutely destroyed. And so I would say, if you look at the pictures, you can see, the post size, and you can see the wiring up on that one where we have our water wheel. And it was gone. Now, my mom, I didn't have a cell phone at this point. I didn't get a cell phone until it must have been 10th, 11th grade. I'm in 8th grade at this point. And she actually called the school because she, when this whole thing was going on, my mom heard the commotion. She's on the porch. The porch doesn't face the field. You'd have to run inside the house and either look out the window, or you'd have to hop up on the roof to get a good glimpse of the field. And she heard it. She's hearing it. She's like, when this all was happening, she's like, what's happening? What is that? And I was like, it's something big and black. That's all I could describe. And she'd be like, well, what do you see? And she disappeared for a second, tried to look out into the field, and she came running back out. What is it? What is it? I was like, there's something out in the field. It's, and this is hollering at it. So now it knows I'm there. It knows my mom's there because we're, probably 60 yards away from each other at this point. So it's not like we're talking very softly or anything. It's right, you have to yell back and forth. The horses are going absolutely nuts. And I would say, this whole thing took at most three minutes at most to when it was gone.
And you're sitting waiting on the school bus is all you're doing.
Waiting for the school bus up above the hill. The school bus comes literally right after I stopped seeing everything.
And then your whole life changed.
Pretty traumatized by it. I'm not a hunter. I've been hunting before. It's not that I don't like it. It's I'm a big dirt bike guy.
Right.
And my whole childhood, my whole everything, it's been dirt bikes, man. I go out in the woods, and me and my buddies are riding dirt bikes and all that fun stuff. The land's actually owned by Green Diamond now because Simpson sold out when I was in high school. And it's just yeah, dude, that scared the shit out of me. Now I go to school, and I'm thinking about it. My mom called me at school and was like, "Well, what'd you see? Do I need to call anybody?" And like, what do I do? And I was like, what? Something huge is out there. Hell yeah, call somebody. And so she just called my stepdad, and then my stepdad came home, and I remember the class I got in trouble with. It was, I can't remember the teacher's name, but me and him did not get along, and I was an asshole student. I was a class clown. I was always making trouble.
Yeah, me too.
I wouldn't say that thing lost my mind. I wouldn't say that thing, like, I never stopped thinking about it, but I tried to go about my normal day, hanging with friends and stuff. But I got in trouble, and the teacher called my stepdad. And my parents are very, very Republican. And if the teacher says something, it doesn't matter what the hell I said. They're going to believe the teacher, which is true. I was probably being an asshole.
Yeah.
And I came home, and I knew when I got in trouble, I got my butt spanked as a kid, but when I got out of 6th grade, my stepdad would just put me to work with all the work that he had off to the side. So teacher called home. My stepdad answered the phone, which sucked because if my mom didn't call him, he wouldn't have been there. And as soon as I got off the bus, I walked down the hill, and my stepdad was out by the front of the barn waiting for me. And he goes, "Teacher called me." "All right," he goes, I got some work for you to do. You're going to repair the fence."
Oh, boy.
And then it hit me, dude. I was like, fuck. I got to go out there where that thing was. I was like, dude, I don't want to do it. Like, is there anything else I can do? Is there anything like I'll do? I'd rather not have electronics like my Xbox or anything. Yeah. Take that away from me for 5 months, a year. I don't care. Like, I don't want to go out there.
So this, you saw this black thing like charging through the electric fence. Can you describe it, or do you remember what it looked like, or was it just a black form?
It was a black form. It was big. It was very, very big. It shouldn't have been that big for being 250 yards away. It couldn't have been. This thing was huge. When it was up on its two legs, and like I said, it got away. It got out of the electrical, and it continued on two legs. This thing was huge, man. And I wouldn't say as a kid, like I wasn't really scared of bears or cougars or anything out there. I would go herd cattle, or cattle would either get out, go up on the road, and me and my stepdad would go get them. I was scared, dude. Like, it was
unnatural.
Yeah, I tell you, I would have never played video games again if I had the choice. I play video games almost every day. And it was bad, and I've been around the cougars. Me and my buddy Mookie, he's my best friend. He lived down the road from us. We were actually walking home from my house one night, and we heard a cougar stuck in the electrical fence.
Right.
A cougar. And, when a cougar is either getting attacked or, like, it screams. Like, a cougar scream is scarier than any sound I've heard.
Yeah, I've heard that, yeah.
It screams like a human, dude.
Yeah.
And, like, like I said, I'm far away. It did let out a I'm pissed the fuck off noise of some kind. It was deep and guttural. It was there, and it was real. Anyways, like I said, this is it gets dark, in Washington very quick, probably around 6:30, maybe 6. It starts getting like, the sun's down, it's getting dark. And I got home probably around, I had a long bus drive. I had an hour bus drive home.
From school?
From school. I was actually the second to last stop. And I had to get home. I would normally get home from school like 3:30, typical. And I think that's about the time I got home. My stepdad told me all that stuff. And so I went out there, dude. I didn't have a choice. It was either that or my stepdad would probably beat my butt, and then I would go fix the fence anyways. And it was terrifying, dude. It was like I didn't feel anything watching me then. I worked probably till 5:30. I knew I wasn't going to stay out there till dark, or even close to it. When the sun, when it started to like, well, okay, the sun's kind of gone or getting to be gone. I went inside.
You were done.
I was done.
But so I mean, these guys that I'm going camping with in Oklahoma and other people say that these things aren't harmful. And I'm scared because I'm going to be down there in a tent, in the middle of nowhere. And there's cougars and bears and stuff. And they, Dave Wilbanks from the Bigfoot and More channel, he goes out there and camps by himself under a tarp outside. And, well, he's a cop. He's not afraid.
Yeah.
He's got a 9mm on him, but that's for tweakers. It's not for Bigfoot. It's not for Bigfoot, but he's not afraid. And same with Troy Hudson, I spoke to you about. I'm going down there with him as well. He deals with a lot of the Choctaw and the Cherokee down in Oklahoma, and he investigated the Hanobi siege. You remember the Hanobi siege, the siege of Honobia with the two brothers?
No, I'm not familiar with that one.
I think it's episode. I can't remember what episode it is on Sasquatch Chronicles, but they lived there and they were in their backyard, and they had to leave the town. And now there's a big festival in the Hanobi, in Oklahoma.
Yeah,
but they went there and investigated it and stuff, and they said when you go out, and this is one of the things he told me. He said when you go out and if you're hunting and you shoot a deer. Now, I don't know how this works, but he said, leave some for the Bigfoot. Leave some kind of gift for the Bigfoot and take some of your own.
Like guts and stuff?
Something like that, or like shoot 2 and leave 1 or something like that. But he's coming. Hopefully he's coming with us in this camping trip because he seems very, I don't know, he just seems to know what he's doing. And it makes me feel better because I'm kind of scared. I'm kind of scared to go into the middle of these woods where these things may be. Yeah. And I don't know. I have no clue.
Have you ever had an encounter?
No. Nothing.
I'm a dude where if it's time to die, okay, I'm good. I'm not scared of death, man. I always tell my buddies and stuff like that, since I get on planes a lot and I travel, and I used to be really scared of flying. Well, I look at flying now like, hey, if I die, I don't got to pay bills anymore. It's kind of a joke I have, but like that scared me. It scared me, and I woke up the next morning. Probably I slept in pretty heavily, which is weird for a farm kid. And letting my stepdad let me sleep in, which is even weirder. But, it had to be 9 o'clock. I went and ate breakfast. And the thing is I wasn't allowed to do anything but eat, read a book, use the bathroom until I got my chore done that I got in trouble for. The damage that when I was out there, I don't know if my stepdad went and looked out there, but I was like, hey, I need a couple fence posts. And he was like, what are you talking about? I was like, there's broken fence posts out there that I had to redig up And it was a good, probably another 5 hours of work ahead of me that I had to do to get this thing done. What I had spent the most time doing is winding up all the wire. It's pretty thick wire. Like, you're not going to be able to just rip this apart with hand. This is thick wire, man. Thick. And I was getting in it because he wanted me to reuse it, and he thought like something like, I don't know, maybe like just knock down it. Like, there was posts broken that maybe he didn't see.
Right.
And so I had to redig those up. And so I spent the first day, like I said, kind of just cleaning up in a sense. I didn't get a lot of work done because I was looking, never once putting my back to where it went. I would, if I had to turn around, I was walking backwards. That's the worst part. But I went out there, and my stepdad had actually left already. He did construction. He did a lot of the construction, and he was the head of a construction company for a very long time. And so he was probably gone, but I went down to the safe and I was only allowed to pull out one gun. Otherwise I'd get in trouble. My mom is home. She is up in the house. I don't know what she was doing, but I went and grabbed the gun, and I grabbed my big machete. It's a 22 caliber rifle. It held a clip, in my head, I'm young again, and I'm bulletproof. Nothing's taking me down in a sense. And I went out there and I started doing my work, man. It was the weekend, it's a Saturday. I got in trouble on a Friday, and I wanted to be able to go hang out with my friends or whatever I wanted to do. I can't remember, but I went out there, dude, and it was about maybe 30 minutes, 45 minutes to where I was uncomfortable. When something's looking at you. And I was, when I get scared or I'm put into a hostile situation, I don't like it. I don't like it at all. And I didn't see anything on the Saturday, okay? I'll be right up front with that. But there was something there. And there's actually a big tree line in between us and this next place over, okay? And I didn't know what else to do. It got to the point where it hurt. In a sense, like, my chest felt so heavy. My lungs hurt. And if I'm in that state, dude, I don't care what the fuck it is. You can come take me down, dude. I'm getting my fucking licks in. And that's basically what I screamed at the top of my lungs, trying to. My mom kept telling me, it's just a bear. It's just a bear. And until this day, my mom still thinks it's a bear. And I let this thing know, like, come and fucking get me, but you're gonna fucking be hurt, or one of us will leave triumphant. And I'm waving my machete up in the air. I have my gun up in the air. I never did any shots. I never pointed it either, okay? It was all up in the air, just making myself look big, in a sense. And I'm screaming and I'm hollering, and my mom's like, what the hell? I hear her voice in the distance. What the fuck are you, what the hell are you doing? What are you doing? And I lowered everything down, and nothing. To my mom, nothing. And the feeling left. Like, it left. I would say like 5 minutes after it, and I've never had that again.
Okay, so how long was this ago? Like 10 years?
Yeah, this is 2008. So, this is 12 years.
Okay, so
almost 11.
So now you're like, obviously, this. I mean, I haven't had any experiences, but if I had, and I'm already obsessed, but you must be wanting to get back out there and find answers.
Dude, I go my mom's land, dude. My mom is very Christian, and I'm a Christian myself.
Right, good for you.
Yeah, I'm I'm a believer in the Lord. I'm not the best Christian, but Jesus died on the cross for my sins.
Who is?
And my mom's house has always been so comfortable, dude. The best sleep I ever get is when I go home and I lay in my old room and I'm at home. It's so quiet, so peaceful. I'll sleep sometimes there, man, like 14 hours. Like it's home, dude. And I know the land. I grew up riding dirt bikes all over there. And there is the Squaxin tribe out there. And like I said, I had been listening to these stories on Sasquatch Chronicles from these people the last 2 years, just subscribed to be a member on the website and just hear other people's. I've been kind of in a sense learning.
Yeah.
And listening to what people's encounters and what they've done to get rid of them on their property. My stepdad actually installed floodlights probably back in 2010, which were pretty nice. They were really deep floodlights, as in like the house to the main barn is probably, let's say 40 yards, say maybe 50 yards. As soon as you got onto the window side of the house, they would turn on.
Right.
And I've heard like a lot of people say like flashing lights can blind their night vision, or
right.
A lot of floodlights just be like it flashes them and they leave. But I don't think it would stop them going out in the field, or anything like that.
Yeah.
We've had goats killed. I know when a cougar gets a goat because I would it more than likely that thing's up in a tree. There's been times the goats have just gone. They're just gone. We had every animal that you could really think of on a farm. Even had 2 buffalo at one point, and those things had no problem. With the fence, those things would go through them. It'd shock them, but it'd stop them. They would go
right.
up. And a buffalo is absolutely massive, man.
Yeah.
And they didn't want anything to do with that shock. My dad he ran the electric fencing on like I think it was like 6 car batteries.
Really?
Truck batteries. And so that's how he ran it. And then at night he would, when he'd leave, he'd turn them on. Or if he was moving the cattle, he'd turn them off and we'd herd the cattle. I never really went back out at night there too much. It never stopped me from going out and riding my dirt bike out in the woods there. Even though it never would. And I mean, it would cross my mind from time to times, and I kind of get in my own head and just start riding faster, like I think it was behind me or some shit.
Yeah.
But I've never had that feeling again. Me and my friends, it was every day in the summer we dirt bike ride, even in the wintertime. It doesn't matter if it's snow or anything. We were going to go ride dirt bikes or quads. And when we started getting older and driving, we would go wheeling up in the snow and just all that stuff. There's actually a really cool lookout. They call it Dayton Peak, where you can just see everything, almost all of Shelton in a sense, all the way to Lake Isabella from it. Really cool stuff, man. And I've never had that again.
So,
go ahead.
But where are you at now, though? You want to go back in there and find out some answers? You were saying.
Well, I go on BFRO from time to time, and I am, again, like, I'm new at this, man. I've never gone out once.
Oh, me too.
Like, I'm going to go look for Bigfoot type of thing. And when I started really investigating it and listening to people's stories, most people tell you don't look for these things.
Right.
Do not. I don't know if I'm doing it for me. There's stories of these things, people disappearing.
Yeah, I know.
And them only finding arms of people.
Yeah, I know.
And I can't tell you why I want to do it. I'm not going out there to kill one. by all means.
Right.
Maybe it's like a closure thing for me, where if I see one, I'd like to see one probably closer. And I'd like to see facial features close enough. I'm talking, I'd like to do 20, 30 yards. If it gets hostile and it wants to, invade my personal space, it'll be a fight. I'll bring the elephant gun with me.
Yeah. It's funny. It's funny because like a lot of people say that, don't go looking for them. And then other people say that they're harmless, and there's so many opinions. And for me, this is the first time I've ever gone. I'm going in 2 weeks down to Oklahoma into the Hornet's Nest. And I don't know what to expect. And I'm shitting myself, to be honest. I'm like, if I can't sleep and I'm like hearing wood knocking and I'm hearing like bipedal walking in the woods, I'm going to like shit myself.
The whoops and the yips.
I'm going to be so scared. Because a part of me, like, I don't have what percentage, but there's a part of me that doesn't really believe in it. And when the other part of me that does actually come to believe in it, my whole world will change. And I know that, if it is real, and I come to this realization at 3 o'clock in the morning in a tent where everybody else is sleeping, and I hear this fucking thing grunting and walking around on 2 legs in the woods, I will have a conniption.
Yeah.
I won't know what to do. I'll probably have to start hitting the whiskey. Or else wake all the guys up, because I'm not a gun owner, and all these guys are like, gun toting, like Oklahoma guys, cops and stuff. They know what they're doing. So I'm gonna have to like scream like a bitch and say, listen guys, there's a Bigfoot like 20 yards away in the woods, and I can't handle it. Would you please, help me out here? That's what it's going to come down to. If I hear something and they don't,
oh yeah,
it's going to freak the fuck out of me.
My aunt back in, I would probably say the 80s, she had an encounter that my mom would tell me about. I can't remember where it was at, but my mom at one point lived at up in Kent, Washington. But my mom's sister and one of her friends, not my mom, but one of my aunt's friends, and their 2 boyfriends went with them, and they got chased out. I don't know if it has something to do with like a bloodline that attracts them, or maybe like we're like them. I couldn't tell you what Bigfoot is. I can't tell you if he's flesh and blood. I can't tell you if he's from the Bible. He might be an alien, man. There's so many theories out there that could be right. If he's an alien, that describes perfectly why we can't catch one.
Well, like you said, the octopus is an alien. Dude, we just find that out.
If you didn't know that a chameleon or an octopus could change colors, would you believe me? If you didn't know it could, I just found a lizard that changed colors.
Yeah. Dude, I know.
You'd be like, what the hell? No, it doesn't. I'll bet you $1 million right now it doesn't. And then you go look at it, you're like, oh shit. And that's the thing about Harstein Island. There's that.
I heard the podcast. I heard it the other day.
That's with one of the sheriffs that worked for the Mason County Sheriff's Department, man. And Harstein Island, there's so many accounts, and that's a 20-minute drive from my mom's.
Wow.
That's past the native land. Harstein Island is actually still is considered native land. My friend, he's been in a relationship with someone from the Squaxin tribe. And I'm actually, I never thought of her, like I said, I am literally as green as it gets to going out and looking for this thing, but I want to start. Most people say, don't do it. You're an idiot. I think we need all the people we can get.
Yeah, I think
to
so.
Get as much knowledge as possible, dude. The government knows they're there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stories of the government like taking these things and dropping them off into places where no one will believe the people. dropping them off at the native land, which is a 15-minute drive. And we used to ride our dirt bikes all the way to 101 that was on native land. You can get to the tribe through the woods from the trails by my mom's land.
Wow.
It's it would take us probably an hour on dirt bikes to ride, maybe an hour and a half, but from our trails you could almost get anywhere in Shelton or a little bit before Shelton. You could actually we went on one and I ran out of gas, but you could also get all the way out to Capitol Forest from our land. You'd have to cross some main roads, but these Highway 101 is not a very active highway at some points. It's a very dark highway. If one wanted to go from there to Shelton, to Lake Cushman, to Harstein Island, it could do it so easily, and no one would ever know. It's a dark highway. A lot of cops will tell you it's a dangerous highway because of how dark it is.
That's like the 202 in Massachusetts. There's up beside the Quabbin Reservoir. There's been sightings, and it's a very dark road. It's like a 2-lane highway. It winds through the roads, and it's dark, and it's dismal. And people have seen Bigfoot crossings there.
Yeah. I wanted to ask my buddy's girlfriend, because he lives down in on the res down there. I've always wanted to ask if she could point me in a direction to someone that could talk to me about their culture and like their studies with these things, and if they were around in their times. I don't know their story. It's a very respectable the res down there. They're very cool people.
Yeah.
I don't know how open they are to me asking questions like that. Here I am, a white dude, but it's like I said, it's not to hunt these things. It's to learn.
Yeah.
I just went and bought 3 trail cams. It's got infrared, but as the story goes, they can see infrared, or they just know a camera's there.
Yeah, I've heard that.
The main thing I want to do is I don't plan on doing any like offerings or presents like food. There's so many theories. I told you one of my theories where if they can go to a different dimension that we can't see with our eyes. And, there's stories of them with mirrors and how everyone who puts a mirror out has found them upside down or smashed where the mirror can't look. I'd like to put a camera on one where it's filming the mirror and seeing if it can creep something up to it, or, just make the mirror maybe disappear.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Maybe you can. Maybe you can like get out there and do something. Well,
the first place I'm going is up near Forks, Washington. I've been just doing Google Earth kind of research. Like, if I was a Bigfoot, where the hell would I go?
Yeah.
I'm not staying overnight. I'm going to leave trail cams. I think it's just cool to get a trail cam in general. Cause I like wildlife.
Oh yeah.
Deer and bear. And if I got pictures of those, that'd be pretty cool by itself.
Yeah.
I do want to go out to Harstein Island. That one's a little crazy because they're, I guess, pretty. They're, I guess, more aggressive out there.
Well, I heard the sheriff's encounter. That was pretty terrifying.
I don't know what the hell I would do with that one, man. If that happens to me that close, maybe I hang it up, dude.
Well, you're pretty close to that guy. Could you get in touch with him?
His name is on the episode.
Maybe you can get in touch with him and talk to him.
I'd like to. When he had his encounter was 2 years after I had mine, and he had his in 2010, and I studied it. Yeah. It's just a different world, and there's so many. I gotta go to like maybe an old logging bar or something. Hopefully find an old timer there, and just get to talking.
Yeah.
The BFRO website is good for learning, but I think it's very bland, and they keep it as a really cut and dry scenario, as Bigfoot is a big wood ape.
Yeah.
Every theory is correct right now on Bigfoot because not one of them has been proven wrong.
Right.
That's my opinion. If I had to pick, one, what it would be, the biblical makes a lot of sense, with Cain. A lot of people think that it's Cain, and Cain slept with a fallen angel, what are they called? The
Nephilim.
Nephilim, yeah, or whatever, times of giants, yada, yada, yada. Until we start proving theories wrong or we get one, there's just nothing we can. You got to keep your eyes open at all times and be open to the theory of the other person's theory of what it could be.
It's a very open discussion. I love the cloaking theory, though. I think that makes a lot of sense. That's why they can remain unseen, just like you said, like the whole predator thing. The cuttlefish and the what do you call it, the octopus and stuff, and that makes a lot of sense to me. So
there's different stuff out there, man, and it's something that we haven't discovered. Different species, the whole 9 yards, dude. There's so much that people think like, oh, there's too many people for us to not find one. He doesn't exist, dude. Like, you can go out in Shelton and out into those Matlock woods, and you could get lost and no one will ever see you again.
Even the same in Massachusetts. It's like so small here, but still, it's so.
You could go 2-3 months in the same direction. It seems like, and no, you wouldn't see another person. There's a lot of local reports from Shelton, all the way up to I should say Mason County. Shelton is the town. There's not, Bigfoot's not walking into the local Walmart up there. But Mason County is very big, and a lot of it's not covered by people.
Yeah.
People don't go to some areas because it's pretty, rocky, hilly, very thick woods. If something wanted to live out there, never be seen, it could.
Yeah, there's places like this around here. There's a place for me, it's 20 minutes away. And if you actually go north, there's a place where I go to and do some of my videos. If you look at my video channel, there's a place I go to called Leominster State Forest. And if you walk north, you will go to Canada without encountering a town. And that's like 500 miles. And you could probably, 20 feet, you'll be cut to pieces in those woods. So it's it's such hubris to say that nothing else lives out there and nothing can hide it. It's silly. And
man.
It's just crazy.
Yep.
But
my main goal, the research I've done and the stuff that's really seems to that I see, is, these things stay away from people. They like to be on their own. You look for the structures that supposedly mark their territory, like the trees kind of pushed over and intertwined, trees picked up and placed upside down into the ground that a human can't do unless he pulls one out with a tractor and digs a hole and stuffs it into the ground. You'd be able to tell if dirt was moved or dug up by humans and put back. Just one of those. That's what I want to look for out there. Stuff that machines can't get to. Like those things, and just see those, and then go on a quest.
Well, keep me updated on whatever you find, and try to get in contact with that sheriff. That'd be fun.
Yeah, I'd love to, man. That valley does have some weird history to it.
Yeah, it seems to.
It really does. There's a lot of weird stuff that I've seen. Besides Bigfoot, there is we called it the Death Hill Climb, where when we go ride our dirt bikes out there as kids, and there was always at least 2 or 3 of us at all times. Most times four kids. I'd go dirt bike riding out there, and it was a hill climb, big nasty hill climb, very loose rock. And we actually never went to the top of it because of how far this hill goes up, but it's a trail. And at the very bottom of it, there's a teddy bear, very small teddy bear with nails through its eyes into one of the trees.
Really?
Weird stuff, dude. And I was like,
shit.
well, I was like none of us put that there. The Brewers, they live. So there's really 3 owners of the valley who own majority of the land. There's us, my parents, my stepdad and my mom. It's Glenwood Farms. We own about 90. There's the Brewers, who Cody DeWall, or I shouldn't say his name, Cody. The Brewers, it's the Brewers Christmas tree farm. That's where we always go get our Christmas tree when I was a kid and stuff. The Brewers own, I don't know how much land they own, pretty comparable to us. And then there is the Hispanic Ranch, which is very, very, very cool place. They do a lot of Cinco de Mayo stuff down there. Had a good time down there. Watched one of my buddies try to ride a bull there.
They're fun people.
No, they are. They're really cool people. They do a good job of maintaining the land.
Yeah.
But other than that, though, we own the majority of the land. But Cody, who is a grandson of the Brewers, he told us a story one time, and it always stuck with me on the bus, which was really weird. I guess in I couldn't tell you, really early in the 50s. They kept having a problem with their cows being slaughtered and disappearing. Like the cows just disappear. And one day they found a cow that had been drained of all its blood, but no blood was on the ground.
Jesus.
And there was a knife with cow's blood stuck into a tree, and then that tree died and never came back. Eventually, they just ripped it down.
Huh.
There's not a lot to the story, but when Cody told me that, I was like, oh shit! Like there's something weird with this valley, man. They found the cow too. Like the cow was still there. It had cut on its neck, but there's no blood anywhere near it except on the knife and into that tree.
Wow.
Just weird stuff, man. But like I said, it's I guess my mom's house is pretty holy land.
Skinwalker Ranch kind of shit.
It's weird stuff, dude. I guess I tried looking it up online to see if it's an old record somewhere.
Yeah.
Shelton Valley. I don't know if the valley was ever named anything different back then. But Cody's tried to tell me that the case went all the way to like New York and shit like that for investigation.
Huh.
So pretty weird shit back then. I couldn't, like I said, I couldn't find anything online about it because I tried finding it, but to this day I have no problem going out there. I'll go out into the field, hang out with my nieces and nephew. They love going out there. Those are my brother's kids.
Yeah.
They ride horses out there, and they hang out with my stepdad, who's papa to them, and ride on the tractor. It's still home, but that encounter, man, won't ever leave me.
Well, I hope you get some more evidence, and I think you should stay at it and go out there and get some more shit. And
I need the exercise anyways. I'll get something positive out of it. I've gained too much weight from my early days.
Oh, don't tell me about it. So when I go down to Oklahoma, I will let you know what happens.
Definitely, man. Keep
I'm
in contact with me.
I'm
if
doing
you're
a whole.
not carrying a gun, get a flashlight. That flash is really heavy. I've heard strobe lights. They don't like strobe lights.
Well, 2 of these guys that I'm going with are law enforcement officers. They're packing. I mean, another guy's got an AR-15 with a scope. Not for Bigfoot, but for like tweakers or mountain lions or shit like that. So it's going to be fun. I can't wait. I'm so excited. Like 2 weeks' time, I'll be down there. And I'm going to be in like alien territory. I've never been down in that part of the world before. And I'm going to be landing in Texas, driving up to Oklahoma, and I'm going to document the whole thing. So it's
cool,
going to be.
Man. Well, I look forward to seeing it, dude. Keep in contact. And, it's my dad's actually from the South, and that's where my grandparents are.
I love the Southern people.
It's the South is awesome, man.
Oh, it is.
Hospitality from everybody down there is it's pretty nice. And get ready for some good food. Hopefully, you can stop at a restaurant on your way up.
All right, man. Well, listen, thanks for coming on, and I'll have this up probably sometime tomorrow.
Sounds good, buddy. Have a wonderful night.
All right, man. Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.